I want to talk about how we're doing it right. You're doing your grief right. You're doing your grief right based on what you've always been told. We've always been told that this is the way we should grieve. Just hang in there and you'll be okay. I promise you, pretty soon. Just give it time. The pain is going to leave. Those are the things that we've been told in our grief. We 100% have been told these things in our grief. You're doing all of the reading. You're listening to all the podcasts. You're listening to all your friends who have done this grief thing before you. Or at least they say they've done the grief thing before you. You're listening to the way that they've done it. It wasn't that hard for me. Why are you struggling so much? They can't understand why you're struggling so much in your grief. Why is this grief so hard for you when it wasn't that hard for them? They're trying to talk you into staying positive, as if staying positive is going to make this grief easier for you. As if staying positive is going to make it go by faster. But something still feels stuck. Something feels like it's not moving. And you can't quite put your finger on it. It also feels like you're doing the grief thing wrong. That's because you're trying to solve grief with your brain. You're actively, with your brain, trying to solve this grief thing. You're trying to figure out how to fix this, how to make it go away. And that, my friends, is not how we do the grief thing. We don't go into our brain and try to fix the grief thing. It 100% comes from our heart, and we have to take a look at the heart. We use the brain to understand, but we got to look at the heart. This grief is not a logical problem. It's not logical. I'm sorry, it just isn't. It's not a checklist. You can't go through this checklist and think you're going to get it all done. As soon as the funeral's done, I'll do this, and then I'll be better. There's not a self-help formula out for this. Each and every one of us has a different grieving experience. Each and every one of us is going to have a different experience throughout our life because it's based on your relationship with the person that you lost. Hey, Suzanne. Hey, my friend. It's going to be based on how you doing, friend. It's going to be based on your relationship with your person. Smart, capable women often stay stuck. Smart, capable women often stay stuck the longest. Smart, capable women often stay stuck and they can't figure out why. I'm smart. I should be able to figure this out. This shouldn't be happening to me like this. Smart, capable women often stay stuck the longest because they think if they understand the pain, they think if they stay here in the brain and they understand the pain, they'll be able to fix it. But the pain doesn't leave until it's felt. It is not going to leave until you feel it, until you talk about it, until you process it. Hey, Doogie, I'm so glad you're here. One of the things we're doing, some great things that we have coming down the pike to help grievers move through the grief, move through the pain. And one of the things you guys have been hearing me talk about is the grief intensive weekend that's coming up. I'm also talking about the Grieve That Shit that's coming out. I'm so excited. It's in the final stages. You guys, I just couldn't release it. It looked I needed Erica to release her book. I needed to give her that opportunity. She needed to shine alone. She has 2 more book signings, but I needed her to shine alone. She needed her day. And I needed to stay on the sideline. And she just said, I want to do this by myself. And I said, go for it, sister. So her book is coming out. And we've got the weekend intensives coming out. And I'm going to be talking about that today. Let's talk about something right now that needs to be said out loud. I see you, Doogie. Let me finish my live and then I'll answer your question. Let's talk about something that needs to be said out loud. You're doing everything right. You're reading the books. You're listening to the podcast. You're journaling like no other. You're trying to do this grief thing to the best of your ability, the best way you can figure out. The best way you can figure out how to do it. And it's still not moving. We cannot get it to move. It's just sitting there for some reason. Why is that? Why is that? Why is it that we are smart women and we cannot figure out how to get this grief to move? Sorry, guys, I got kicked off of Facebook. Because you're trying to positively think your way through the grief. You're like, I got it. Positive. Positive, right? Positive. Think all the good thoughts. Think about how great he was. Think about how grand she was. What an amazing life we had together. Here's the problem with the positive thoughts. Every time you think a positive thought, it sends an emotion to your heart. And every emotion that it's sending to your heart is grief. So while you're over here trying to be all the positive that you can, you're actually sending grief emotions to your heart. Grief emotions that you don't know what to do with. Grief emotions that are causing you to struggle even more. You're trying to be positive. You're trying to move forward. You're trying to do all the work. And yet you're still feeling stuck. Yet you're still feeling stuck. Why am I not further along than I should be? Why am I not further along? Thank you, Suzanne. If you've asked yourself this question, why am I not further along on this grief healing journey? Why am I still feeling this way after all of this time? Then this conversation is for you. It's because here's the hard truth that most people don't tell you. You can't think your way out of this grief. You can't logic your way out of this grief. And it is not a checklist. And if you're anything like the women that I've worked with, you think you can get this figured out. You think you can muscle yourself through it. But grief doesn't live in your head. It lives in your entire body. It lives in your entire body and it sets up home in your heart. And that heart is in your chest. And if your stomach is upset, it's because your heart is sitting right on top of your stomach. This grief is in your cells. It's in your bones. Grief lives in part of you that you don't even speak language. They don't even have language. But it will send sensations to you. Okay, let's pause right here and I'm going to ask you a question. If you understand this enough, can you solve your grief? Yes or no? If you understand this enough, can you solve your grief? Yes or no? If you understand everything about it, if I were to give you the book on grief, would you be able to solve this grief thing? I find that grief is healthy and healing. It is. It is. But how do you use it to process you? How do you use it to process the pain? It is very healthy. You're right. It's extremely healthy. Tammy says, I hope so. If I gave you the book, you'd be able to figure it out. Suzanne's not without doing the work. It's not a problem to be solved. And she's right on. Grief is not a problem to be solved. We're supposed to grieve. We are supposed to grieve. We are not supposed to go after trying to fix this. There's nothing broken. There's nothing broken. You are not broken. So many women come to me saying, Sharon, I've done all the work. And here's the checklist, right? Here's the checklist. I've been in therapy. I read the books. I cried already. I meditated. Right? And I even pray every day. I've done the therapy. I've read the books. I've cried. I've meditated. I pray and journal. And I want to tell you guys something. Every single one of these are amazing. Every single one of these are amazing. Every single one of these are amazing. And they're all action steps. This is about talking. This is about reading. This is an action step to get the action out. The energy out. Meditating to calm the nerves, right? Praying to our higher power and journaling. But until you decide that you're going to go deep into your heart and look at what's broken, what is broken in your heart, your broken heart, look at what's missing. Look at all the things that you wish were better. All of the things you wish were different, and all of the more that you still need to have or that you still need to say, you look at that and you complete the pain of grief, it will stay there. We must do the work of grieving. Grief is something that we must do. We must do the work of grieving. And then after tell me these are all the things they've done, they want to know why it still hurts. They want to know why it still hurts when they've done all of this and there's still pain. And the answer is because you think you can thought your way out of this grief. You feel like you can think your way out of the grief. You think you've understood grief this whole time. You thought you were different than everybody else. You thought you had the answer. You think you had this figured out. And you're using the wrong tool for the job. You're using your brain instead of your heart. And the bottom line is you haven't felt the grief. You haven't felt the grief all the way through. It starts and it needs to be felt all the way through. That's what completing it is. This right here, my friend, is the day of the loss. And you've got to feel the grief all the way through. Suzanne says you can do all that, but you have to grieve. That's Aida. You can do it all, but you got to grieve. The list is mostly intellectual. You think the list is mostly intellectual? Let me look here. Yeah, I guess so. Because, talking, right? Reading is intellectual, goes to your brain. Crying is an action step that is removing the energy. Meditation is really in the brain, right? Because it's calming the heart down. Praying is intellectual, and journaling is, I guess you're right, Suzanne. Yeah, a lot of intellect there. You haven't felt the grief all the way through. And until you feel the grief all the way through, you're going to keep grieving. And it's not a flaw in you. It is not a failure in you. It's how most of us were raised. We were raised to stay in our heads. I sat with a beautiful woman today, just grieving deeply. And I asked her, where did you learn how to grieve? What was your first grieving experience? And she shared with me her first grieving experience. And I said, where did you learn how to grieve? And she really had to think about it and came up with that no one has ever taught me how to grieve. Because when she listed that grieving experience, she was able to list a few more. And the responses that she got, and the truth was, no one had ever really shown her how to grieve. No one had ever really showed her how to grieve. So it's not your fault, and you're not failing. The truth is, the world has kept us back from grieving. They've kept us back by doing certain things, by not teaching us how to grieve. One of the things we were talking about in Grief Study Hall yesterday is that The two most taboo subjects in society, the two most that no one wants to talk about is death. Oh, didn't mean to flip you off. Death and grieving. Nobody wants to talk about grieving and nobody wants to talk about death. But here's the other thing. We're all only getting out of here one way. We all have to die to get out of here. Everybody we know that has gone before us has died to get out of here. And then you know what's happening, but nobody wants to talk about it. So if nobody wants to talk about what I'm experiencing, what I'm feeling, or what they were experiencing, what they're feeling, how are we supposed to learn from it? It's how most of us were raised. We were raised to stay in our heads, not in our heart. We're raised to analyze the pain, not to sit in it, to analyze it. We're raised to go to therapy and talk about the pain. Don't touch it, just talk about it. Question: do you find yourself thinking more than feeling? Do you find yourself thinking more about the grief, thinking more about your person than you're actually feeling the grief? Yes or no? Do you find you're going through it in your mind? So let me get on it. Definitely, certainly. What are we afraid of will happen if we feel the pain? It's like the unknown. If I was absolutely to allow this pain in here. Hey Dee, how are you doing? If I were to let the pain be in here, what's going to happen to me? What would happen to you if you absolutely, Dee says she would fall apart. No, I don't think so, Dee. Because you've been to my lives more than once and you haven't fallen apart yet. Yes, you're falling apart. You're grieving, but it's not going to, even if you fell apart, you would still be able to take a breath and stand up again. Maybe a little tired, a little exhausted, but you're ready to go back into the fight. Thank you, Dee. Here's what I want you to know. You don't have to live stuck in the cycle of this grief, feeling it over and over again and not knowing what to do with it. Because for most of us, we're not actually doing this. We're doing this. We're spinning in the pain. We don't have to stay stuck in the cycle. There's a way out of this. It doesn't start with another book. It doesn't start with your friend telling you her grief story. It doesn't start with you deciding you're not going to talk about it anymore. It doesn't start with you deciding you're going to sit in the chair until it goes away. It absolutely starts with you feeling it. It starts in your body. It starts in your body, but most importantly, in your heart. This is one of the things I want to talk about in the Grief Intensive Weekend. That's why I want to bring us all together. I'm so excited to be launching the Grief Intensive Weekend, which is going to be the last weekend in July. I'm going to tell you why. Prior to COVID, Erica and I did weekends together. And all our life, we were just going to do Grief Intensive Weekends. That's how we were building this business. But COVID hit, and that was taken from us. And now, for the first time, we're actually getting back to it. Her books come out. My book is coming out. And we're primed. We're ready. We're ready to get out and meet you ladies. Grief starts in your body. You're definitely going to feel it here. It's going to feel tight. Your chest is going to feel heavy and you're going to feel pain. You feel pain in your joints. And all of your joints will hurt. But while all of this is going on in your body and you're starting to feel it, you have this thing we call thoughts. Thoughts. Over and over again. 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Right? going over and over and over again in your brain. One of the simplest thoughts is, why? Why me? That's a question. Why now? We ask that over and over again. But as the pain starts to rise from here, it gets stuck right here in our throat. It starts to rise and we can feel it right here. But we're so good at ignoring this pain that once it gets right here, we become really good at swallowing it down. I'm not going to talk about this. I got to get all this business done today. I'm not going to talk about it. I have to get this business done. It starts to rise in our body and we have to feel it. We have to start feeling. We want to bypass the ugly parts. We want to be able to get out of grief as quickly as possible. We want to be able to think the thought, I can't do this. I can't do this without him. I'm not going to do this. I don't care what you say. I'm not doing it. And we think we can will it away. Have you ever tried to skip an emotion and go straight to healing? Have you ever tried to stop feeling the emotions of pain? Are you in the point where you're faking the funk like you don't have to do this? I'm telling you, we all do it, including me. We want to bypass the ugly parts. We want to skip the crying. We want to get past the confusion. We want to get past the exhaustion. Check, did that, check, did that, check, did that. We all want to go straight to feeling better. Why can't I just feel better? Why can't this just go away? But you can't skip the feeling. You can't skip the middle. You can't skip what's happening in your heart. Hey, I didn't just say come in here and we could just like jump over the pain and look at me. We can't do that. It's more like this. You got to walk in. You got to walk in, even though it's hard. And if you do, I promise you it will make a difference. We can't jump over the pain. Because if you try to bypass it, I promise you what's going to happen is you're going to live in the loop. You're going to live in the loop where it just continually goes on and on. You will overthink it, to feeling it in your stomach, to having heart pain, to overthinking it. And then you stay here for a long time. Then you start having pain. Grievers tell me they have acid reflux. They have exhaustion. And then I stay here for a week. And then I go back here. But the whole time, what I'm trying to do is avoid my heart. I'm not trying to be there. I'm trying to stay out of it. That's grief. This right here is grief. This is what most women look like when I meet them. Let me say this as clearly as I can. Grief is not a mindset issue. It is not your brain. It is not something, a puzzle that I'm going to give you a piece to and you're going to fit it in that piece just perfectly and it's going to be solved. Grief is a full body, a full heart, a full soul experience. And it has some demands. It has demands. It doesn't want you going around analyzing it. It wants you to learn. It wants you to learn what it is. It wants you to understand what the demands are. It wants you to manage your grief emotions. It demands that they be felt all the way through. Do you ever feel exhausted from just trying to do grief right? This is the exhaustion. So we're going from the brain to the exhaustion, the brain to the exhaustion. That's grieving, friends. It's grieving. People aren't coming up to you saying, hey, here's the instructions on how to sit in sadness and not drown. They're just not giving us the information. They're not giving us the information. Here's the other thing that I realize. People aren't telling you that there's a way out of the grief process. Grief is a process. Grief is a process that happens in our soul and spirit and body. We've got to go through the full process. And for people to come up to you and say to you, you're going to feel like this for the rest of your life is a damn lie. You're not going to feel like this for the rest of your life. Excuse me, you will miss them. But that grief pain that you're feeling in your heart, there's a way out of it. All right. I haven't finished with the lesson, but I pulled out. I just pulled a page out of Grieve That Shit, and I want to read it. Grief is raw. It's honest. It's uncomfortable, and it hurts. This is on page 39, and the chapter is That Grief Shit. Grief is raw. It's honest, and it's uncomfortable, and it hurts. If you're tired of pretending you're okay, if you're done swallowing the pain down, what did I say? Swallowing the pain. Let's get one thing straight. Grief is not just something you feel. It is something you go through. You go through a grieving process. You go through it. But most people don't know that. They've never been taught that grief is a full body, full mind, mind-splitting, soul-wrecking experience that demands action. Not just time. It demands more than your time because people will tell you just to give it time. They're told to wait it out. Stay strong. You need to get back to work. You got to keep your mind busy. You need to get back to work. Maybe they'll cry once or twice and then they'll move on. That's not grief. That's denial. And denial doesn't heal you. It buries you. Grieve That Shit was born out of the truth that no one else was trying to say out loud. Grief is brutal. And if you want relief, you've got to get in the mud with it. I'm going to read that again. Grieve That Shit was born from the truth that no one else is saying out loud. Grief is brutal. It's painful. It hurts every aspect of your body. And if you want relief, you've got to get in the mud with it. You've got to talk about it. You've got to talk about the pain. That's why the therapy helps so well. You've got to lean into it. You have to allow the pain to be there and lean into it. You have to learn, what is this process? What is this thing that Sharon is talking about? And then you have to complete the pain of grief. You have to go after the pain. This is not a theory. It is not a fluffy self-help, a list of journal questions about your feelings. This is a battle-tested method that helped thousands of grieving women walk through the fire and come out alive. It's what I used when I fell on my knees the day my nephew died. The way I teach at the grief school. This is the way I walk every weekend intensive with you. If you're ready to actually heal that part of your heart, the part that's shattered, then let's begin. We're not talking about grief. We're talking about the shit. Every time I read out of that book, I think it's so great. I'm not going to finish it, but that was page 39. It's in the final stages, so we'll be getting it out. Look at me, so impressed with myself. Okay. Up until now, no one ever really modeled with us what it's supposed to look like to grieve. Erica and I teach you how to do this. We teach you how to grieve and move through it without silence, without shame. We were not taught. We had to dig through the mud and figure it out. I'm telling you, when I tell you that we were praised for being resilient, we were praised for being strong, it's unbelievable. The whole time I was being strong, I was dying on the inside. But here's the cost. We got good at coping because no one ever told us. So all we've been doing is surviving. We get good at coping. We get good at allowing the bad feelings to just sit there. And we have all learned to unlearn this thing together. All right. My name is Sharon Brubaker, and I'm a grief specialist. I'm the owner of the Grief School, the place where healing begins. In 2006, my nephew Austin drowned at the lake. It was Father's Day weekend. He drowned at the lake, and it was 3 hours after the initial call that I had to walk up the stairs to tell my sister that we had in fact found his little body and he had drowned. And I tell you guys over and over again, it was at that moment I realized I didn't know how to grieve. I didn't know how I was going to move past this. If any part of what I'm saying to you is causing you to nod along with me, then you're in the right place. You're absolutely in the right place. On June 17th, I'm launching something called the Emotional Reset. It is a 3-day workshop on how to reset the emotions in your heart. Why? Why am I doing that? Because grief is an emotional experience. It's an emotional experience that takes place in our heart. If you go right here to the link in my bio and you click on the link that says click here for hope, if you're in Facebook or on Instagram, you just click in the Beacons AI. It says Beacons AI at the Grief School. And there you can sign up for the Emotional Reset. It's going to be 3 days of us going through emotions. Guys, it's $19. Trust me, I'm not getting rich off of this. Why is there a fee at all? There's a fee because I want you to pay something and I'm going to pay something. I'm going to give you my time. You're going to give me $20. It is online on Zoom. It will be recorded. If you sign up, it will be recorded so you can watch it anytime. Here's the deal. Once the class is over, I will turn the recording off and we will do a grief share. That part will not be recorded. This is not another book. It's not another post. It's you sitting with me online and doing a full reset of your emotions. What are these emotions? Where do they come from? Where do they start in our body? Why is it that we were never taught how to deal with our emotions? Right? I have an emotional list here. I just had it. I thought I had it. Anyway, I want to show you. I created something called the Emotional Compass, and I'm going to be teaching from the Emotional Compass. Yes, men can come. Anyone can come. Can you tell me again when? It's the 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The link is in the bio there. Why do I want to do an emotional reset? I'm going to tell you why. This is why. I need you guys to understand this. That for many, many years, we've been trying to solve this grief thing with our brain. We've been trying to solve it with our thoughts. Hold on. We've been trying to solve it with our thoughts. When in actuality, the grief is really, what's really hurting us is, yes, the thought of all of the better and the more and the different. All of the things about I wish this was better. I wish this was different. I wish I had more time. I wish I had more energy. I wish I had picked up the phone. Why didn't I say this? Better, different, or more is what comes to our brain. But every time we think something that we want better, something that we want more, something that we want different, or regret, anytime we think any of those, it sends an emotion here. Anytime you think a thought, it quickly sends an emotion here. But we're so smart, we don't allow this to be here. We go on to the next thing. There are millions of emotions, right? But what are some of the grief emotions that we need to deal with? I'm absolutely going to walk you through emotions and an emotional checklist and something that I call the emotional compass. I'm certified in this emotional training, and I'm going to talk about finding your emotion. What is absolutely there? Shame, humiliation, depression, grief, regret, right? Fear, anxiety. What is these thoughts sending here? Because this right here is the grief. What emotions are you not willing to feel? What emotions are you hiding from? What emotions are you pushing back on? How does an emotion show up in our body? Why is it that we haven't been taught how to process these emotions? All of them. Anger, absolutely anger. The link in the bio is called the Emotional Reset. It's right at the top. I want to tell you guys about Denise. Denise is a woman that I worked with a long time ago. And if you looked at Denise, you would say, oh my gosh, this is a woman that absolutely has it all together. She was so perfect. Even her earrings were perfect. Her hair was perfect. Every aspect about her was perfect. She was a nurse practitioner that had built a business from the ground up. She raised her 2 kids as a single mom. And her mind, she was so sharp. She was focused. She always seemed to be in control. Even when she reached out to me and told me that she was grieving, even when she reached out to me at first and told me that she was grieving, it was like I was having a business meeting with someone. She had her little notebook. She came into my office. I was in California then. She was in control of everything. But then her sister died. Her absolute best friend. Her person. And suddenly, nothing made sense to her anymore. This well put together woman could not function. She couldn't function. Suddenly, nothing made sense. She honestly thought she would be able to figure out how to do this from every book that she read. And she was reading them all. Anything she could get her hands on. She was doing the therapy. She went to her doctor. She was doing all of the right things. She took online courses. She was filling out journal upon journal. She couldn't figure out how is it that she was such a well put together woman but couldn't figure this out. Why was she still numb? When I first met her, she said, I understand everything that's happening. I understand that my sister is not coming back. I understand that she's no longer here. I have read all of these books. I've talked to all of these people, but I'm not feeling any better. It's because she was trying to use her brain to push her through the grief. Never once did she go here. She was in every book, every therapy session, every class, every course, every journal, everything. But she wasn't allowing herself to grieve. It's not something you can think your way through. Do we use our brain as part of it? Absolutely. Do we go over the thoughts that are in our brain? Absolutely. But do we use the brain as the main driver? No. We have to use the heart. It's not something we can think our way through. And when Denise came to meet with Eric and I, and she sat down and we talked to her and we loved up on her, and she did her much needed work, she realized what she'd been avoiding. She was avoiding stuff on purpose, absolutely. Not because she didn't care, not because she didn't care about her sister, because she thought she could figure this out with her brain. I have an interview on the podcast last month with a really sharp woman. You guys could go back and listen to that podcast. She talks about her husband passing away. She's an attorney. Beautiful woman. If you've been on TikTok, you may have seen some of the videos. This is June. I interviewed her at the 1st of May. She said, when I came to meet you, and this is the truth, and I'm repeating this because this was in the interview. She said, I was only coming to see you for my stepdaughter because I just thought I was going to get a book and I would read the book and then I would know how to do the grief thing. She said, the minute I talked to you, I knew that I needed this for me as well. Her name is Shane. Have you guys seen the interview with Shane? Your pain is private. I get that. You are very vulnerable. I get that. But none of that is weakness. When our nervous system detaches, we feel fear. We don't understand this grief. We feel the danger in the world. We feel like we've been thrown out to figure this out by ourselves, naked and afraid. It is through your emotions that things will change. I promise you, friends, if you do this right, you will not feel like you're continuing to drown. Drown in the big feelings. I know that your body is having you forget things. I know that you're in a brain fog. I know that you're numb. I know that sometimes the tears won't come, even though you're absolutely heartbroken. I know that sometimes the tears won't stop. And when the tears don't stop, you start to think that you're broken and you're not doing this right. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You've got to work through the grief. Your body is trying to protect you, but more importantly, your brain is trying to protect you. It's trying to protect you from what it perceives to be too much. Here's the part that changes everything. When you sit with Eric and I in the Grief Intensive Weekend and we go through grief from the beginning, we share our own stories. We share our own personal stories. We talk about what it's about. We teach you how it shows up in your body. We break it down with you step by step, and then we help you complete the pain, to the loneliness, to the isolation. Along the way, and I don't know when it's going to happen for you because it happens to everyone, something starts to shift. I'm using my friend's word. Something starts to shift. It just changes. Suzanne says the work is harder than you can imagine, but completing the relationship is immeasurable. And that's what we do here. We retrain your nervous system to let the grief move through you. We start small. We take a breath. You're safe. We're listening to you. We give you the space to feel safe. You know that tightness in your chest that you felt since the day you got the phone call? That's what I'm going after. That's the part I want to move. You know when the tears keep coming, but they don't fall, but you keep feeling them? That's the part I'm going after. And once I touch that, I go a little bit deeper. My goal is to guide you through this grieving process and to teach you how to do it. 18 years ago, this June 17th, the night that the emotional reset starts, 18 years ago, I didn't know how I was going to make it out the other side. I absolutely didn't. But I went after it. I went after it to help Erica because honestly, I thought I needed to fix her. I 100% thought she was broken. Linda says, hey, Miss Linda. Linda says, coping does not equal healing. Sharon is speaking the truth. Just coping with the grief is not healing. That's just surviving. I don't want to be surviving. I want to be living. On June 6, 2017, I was sitting in a real estate open house. I was a real estate agent, and the phone rang, and it was my daughter, Brittany. And Brittany was screaming into the phone, Mom, I lost Austin. You guys, when I tell you my knees went weak and I fell to the ground, it is absolutely true. I knew beyond a reasonable doubt that this was going to be different. 3 hours after that initial phone call, they found Austin and he had drowned. Father's Day weekend, right by the boat. I went on a mission to find out everything I could about grief, loss, and a broken heart. To fix my sister. That's what I was doing. To fix my sister. I really wanted to fix her. And you know what I found out? Michelle said, I signed up for the reset. Oh, that's awesome. Suzanne said, I hit the milestone of losing my love, the 1-year milestone. My brother died. It was a blessing that I had done my work. My heart to yours, Suzanne. So I went out on this mission to do everything I could for Erica. And we started to do better. We really did start to do better. And that next year, in 2017, she and I started teaching grieving women. Our first grief intensive weekend, this is no joke, was in my living room in Castaic, California. And we had one lady. That was our first one. We had one lady show up. She was so cute. And she was pregnant. She was pregnant. It was in 2017. And Eric and I were teaching her together. She's the cutest little thing. And she lost her stepfather. And he was the only father she ever knew. So, so cute. We the three of us became really tight. The very next weekend, very next time we did the grief emotional weekend, we had 26 people showing up, men and women. And we split them into two. And we did 2 groups. It was amazing back then. I love meeting with grievers in person because when I meet with grievers in person, I can give them the hug. I can give them the love. I promise you won't be rushed. You won't be pushed. You will be held. You will feel understood. You will feel as though you've been heard, listened to with respect. Join me on the 17th for the emotional reset. I'm inviting you all. I am absolutely going to be talking about the grief weekend. That's in Dallas on the 24th. We're not going to keep you stuck. Our job is to go after it and to help you. Okay. I love you guys. Hey, TikTok, I'm going to hang out for another hour or so. But I want to show you guys a couple of things. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live at 11 a.m. Saturday, I'll be live at 7 a.m. The Dallas one is in person. It absolutely is. Grief Study Hall is every Tuesday from 1 to 3. Starting next week, after next week, the Grief Study Hall will float. I know a lot of ladies want to join Grief Study Hall, and instead of me doing 2 or 3 study halls, I'm just going to float it. So every week on Sunday night, we'll come out with the time that the Grief Study Hall is going to be. That way we give a chance for other people to join in. I know a lot of you ladies work. Every Thursday from 4 to 6 is Honor Society. It's for anyone who's done processing the pain of grief. The emotional reset is the 17th through the 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'd be honored to have you guys in there, Central Standard Time. And the Forever Change Weekend is going to be in Dallas on July 24th. The emotional reset is here, is there. The grief weekend is not in there. It will be in there by Friday. My assistant went on vacation. I thought she was going on vacation next Monday, but it's this Monday. But I already sent an email, so it should be in there. If not by end of day today, it'll be in there tomorrow. Hey, Fly Girl, how you doing? When people tell you to just be grateful, look on the bright side, they wouldn't want you to feel this way. Even though some of that may be true, it's not going to be helpful. It is not going to be helpful. Here's the truth. You cannot positively think your way out of this grief. You've got to get in there and move the grief. You've got to get in there and move the pain. The tools we use are beautiful. They are amazing, and they're tough. I'm not going to kid you now. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. It's tough. Suzanne tells you guys all the time. I have other beautiful women that are in here doing the work, and they're struggling. It's not that easy, but so worth it. It's not that easy, but it is so, so worth it. Okay, friends, I want to leave you with this. I see you. I keep telling you I am you. I am grieving. I was a griever. You are not broken. You are grieving. Grief is a process. The process that the body goes through when you've lost your person. And here's the most important thing. You don't have to do this alone. You do not have to do this alone. There are people here ready, willing, and able to do it with you. Come be with us. Come sit by us. I have worked on this for 18 years to figure this out. And I've put it together. And it is absolutely amazing. Come remember how to live again. Without leaving your person behind. With your full heart. I'll see you guys all there. I'll see you at the emotional reset. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you all. Okay, TikTok, hold tight, please.